Hello. I want to share with you today a reflection that is based on Luke chapter 4, verse 14 through 21. And it's on the subject, an old focus demanding new energies. Now, the mission of God has never changed. It has always been the same. The problem is that people haven't often heeded and carried out with passion the call and focus of God. But the focus of God has always been the same. The focus of God has always been that of justice, right relationship with neighbor and stranger alike, the care of and for one another, the ability to show mercy and love, and in doing that, it always leads back to God. I find it strange that people can claim to be God-loving and God-fearing, but disdain the very things that God has always sought for his followers to focus upon. We are reminded to love God with all of our heart, soul, strength, and mind, and that is exemplified by loving our neighbor as ourselves. Or the caution and counsel from John that asks, how can you love God who you haven't seen and hate your brother and sister who you have seen? Our relationship with God is actually seen and defined by our relationship with one another. In the scripture today, Jesus comes back to Galilee and to Nazareth, and in the synagogue he reads from the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 61. But the scripture is pronounced freshly through the mouth of Jesus and serves as a reminder that Jesus' new pronunciation of mission and ministry is old, and it is what God has sought all along. He says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." Now, what kind of mandates do we find in these old words from Isaiah? They are good news to the poor, release to the captives, recovery of sight to the blind, in this case meaning the spiritual as well as physically blind, to let the oppressed go free, and to proclaim that the time has come for all of this to come into fruition. Now, I'm always startled and even saddened when I hear voices from the church focused upon so many other things, so many other superficial things. Where is our concern for the poor? Not that the poor have another soup kitchen and another morsel of stale bread, but where the economic system is addressed so that all people have potential and opportunity. We recently celebrated the birthday of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and as he grew in his mission and ministry, he made this statement, quote, "True compassion is more than flinging a coin to a beggar. It is not haphazard and superficial. It comes to see that an edifice which produces beggars needs restructuring," end quote. Indeed, voices of faith must be bolder and more radical in our approach to demands and solutions. Remember, I am speaking about an old thing, an old focus of God in our present context. Why should people be without health care or housing or denied education because of the overwhelming burden of its cost? Why is everything treated as a commodity and benefits a few at the gross expense of many? Good news to the poor means that we should have been outraged and acting long before a horrendous earthquake hit the poorest country in our hemisphere, Haiti. Haiti was the first country to overthrow slavery in our hemisphere, and as a result has been economically victimized by other nations and world banking entities ever since. We, people of faith, must begin to change the paradigm of the haves and have-nots, of the rich versus the poor. Now, I am thankful for the nations and organizations that have flocked to Haiti's relief. I am thankful for the generosity of millions of people and for the outpouring of donations and material aid. I'm thankful for the generosity here at Plymouth Congregational United Church of Christ, and I'm also thankful for the community of all people in Reston, Virginia that has been extremely generous. We can pull together in disasters, but I pray that someday we learn to pull together progressively to prevent disasters and make a world where there is no need. No, the focus of God has always been upon justice, care of stranger and neighbor alike, the mercy that is shown to one another, right relationship with God and human. These are old focuses of God, and they are offered every time in new ways, with new voices speaking them and new people trying to do it. I wonder when we will ever really get the passion of this gospel, the truth that is found in it. When will we understand and make of this world a habitation where there is good news for the poor, release for the captive, recovery of sight for the blind, and freedom of the oppressed? And as the end of that text says, let that work begin right now. God bless you. Thank you for allowing me to share with you again. And I pray that you will be blessed and that you will go forth and do God's will, and we will see each other again. God bless.